Hey everyone, welcome back to the fourth game of the best of 5 of Greyhound versus Krot in the Bootcamp Elite Tournament Finals. Once again, I'm here with Putin and Little Villain.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
And Greyhound has brought a blue 4 airborne deck. Now that's a very... I don't want to say meme deck, but a deck you don't see very often.
I'm pretty sure Greyhound likes it quite a bit.
I mean, otherwise he wouldn't bring it. He certainly has played it for a decent while in the past now. But other than that, you usually don't see it used by people unless they're healer rushing.
It definitely has some tools to spice it up. And the plane tap, the blue, famous blue for air tap.
Kernus,
all the planes.
Thunderbolt, Peace. No Raven. No Raven, so he runs Prowler and Puff instead.
Interesting choice.
And then the F-15J.
I think the reason why he runs the F-15Js, I mean, he clearly doesn't run, right? He doesn't run the Mirage.
Yes.
I can't
Even
type.
though he could get a
doesn't run the Mirage, and he doesn't run the Danish block. Because since he's playing airborne, right, the planes get one...
benefit from the extra.
Yeah, they don't get veterancy, so he uses planes that come on veteran or like the F-15 on hardened. Personally, I probably would have preferred like the Tornado instead. The F3, because it now comes on elite. But still...
Yep.
Them being on veteran and elite respectively, solid for sure.
I think he does it for the memes, honestly.
And, I mean,
quite possible.
Certainly, I mean, given that he also played CSSR, memes are certainly a part of it, but still, I wouldn't underestimate the deck. It certainly is very capable, and I think.
And can we just shout out to the MVP in the deck, the Rover Wombat?
Yeah, I wanted to just look at this real quick. If this is. I think I recently checked, and I believe this is actually the best recoilless rifle chip, because he obviously has like a lot of choices, right?
There is nothing
better. This thing and that one. There's like the Wombat used by, I think, all of Commonwealth. I think all three of them have the same thing. Oh no, the Canada actually has a different one, but ANZAC and UK both have the same recoilless rifle. It's literally the same thing, right? Same chassis, same gun. But yeah.
Yeah, that is the best one.
Unlike
the best 10-point wheel fire support that you can get, I think.
I believe. I mean, there's the Musti, which has 16 AP, but it doesn't have the range.
Powerful, very powerful gun.
Certainly for the price.
Or rifle.
Yeah, rifle technically. Unlike Red Airborne, which can actually have a pretty decent ground game, you don't gain that much. You get the MX-13s, which are obviously very strong. Both of them.
If he's taking both cards, the recon and the tank one.
You don't get the AMX-10, which you might have thought. AMX-10, right? You only get this one as well as the French one. Hachinana is going to be nice, and Rangers, Jaitet, and Nolan Segura as ground infantry. We've said this in the first game. Nolan Segura, very, very solid infantry, and for no good reason whatsoever, get the THB as a transport. I think that's actually quite an important deal for this deck. Otherwise, he obviously would get them in a ground transport. He also gets the Rifleman 90 in the Humvee. Commandos 90 on Elite are going to be really strong. But clearly, lots of Lynxes here. Lynx H7 with Paratroopers, Lynx H7s with the Milan. But the core of this deck are certainly the planes.
Yeah, I'm actually expecting quite a lot of use out of that F-100D.
Yes.
Rocket Red planes can be quite effective.
Not only are they good at sniping AA, especially the F-100D has so many rockets that you can actually split the salvo very easily. So if there's two AA pieces relatively close together, you can easily split them. I think you can, if you're really good, I think you can split it into 4 shots even. 2 for sure, I think 3 I've seen, but if you are really trying hard, you could...
I have never tried that.
I think you go for. I think you can go for 4 shots. Bursts. Sorry, but I don't think you can do it in one run. I think you would have to do a second run. But I think you could split it if you wanted to. But we'll see what he'll do.
It fires in 2 salvos naturally, right?
I think it's actually 4 salvos. 2 for sure, but I think it's actually 4. Harrier also not something you see all too often. On hardened, not elite. They're semi-active 30 AP missiles, so in whatever Krot is gonna play, if he's not playing USSR then and running 15 AP, 15 armor tanks, they can get one shot by this. But yeah, Kernus, Thunderbolt, the usual stuff. I think the biggest thing is Snow Raven, which is usually what you'd see, especially since you have so many slots and he already runs 2 seedplanes anyway.
Yeah, but they use blue for specialized, and essentially blue for red for decks. But blue for mostly is there's so many options how to build them usually, and airborne is definitely not an exception. So the infantry choice, the plane choice, very very player dependent.
Still solid
Very
AA
much
setup with the Krotals TCM. Could get a Roland as well, even some artillery, right? LAR 160, the Lars one, which in my opinion is incredibly underrated and even better than the Lars 2. He has some more. He could get some mortars if he wanted to, but they're very low range. But yeah, I think let's go. Actually, hold up. He opted for infantry CV in a 5-point track. Didn't go for like a Lynx. He could go for a Lynx, but he didn't.
He has Lynx left, which is.
Or even in for like other infantry CVs, right? That's actually quite surprising. Huh.
He just picked the one with the MG3.
True, but he could also get like the Danish one with the MG3 and in the Lynx. Blackhawk.
Maybe he just felt he has enough helicopters.
Anyway.
Is that such a thing?
Well, I think you're asking the wrong person. I think the other big thing versus Red 4 Airborne is Red 4 also has Heinz, right? You don't have these high HP, tanky, all-around helicopters even for only 100 points. You're usually relatively squishy outside of the Apaches. And the Apaches just isn't quite the same thing as a VP, right? Lower availability, more expensive. Although it does have the medium optics, but it's also slower.
I mean, Apache is different. It's not the VP definitely, and it's closer to the Mi-28.
Yeah.
And you don't get escorts here in this deck, right?
No, escorts are prototyped. So it's really just Cobras and the like outside of... I think that's like the only Apache that you get. The all other Apaches are prototypes. You get a Super Cobra with its 350 kmh and its seed missiles. If you wanted
Honestly, Super Cobra is a good helicopter.
It is... Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, it's solid, but it's certainly not horrible. There's also the Seahawk if you wanted to, but no real...
I, for one, like the Gazelle Hot being included.
Gazelle Hot is very good. Very underrated. It's incredibly strong. Fennec Tau 2 is also available, which is also just as strong, if not stronger.
For people who don't know, which there may be some, the Gazelle Hot is actually not just small.
Not just very small, it's like ridiculously small.
It's actually smaller than very small.
Yes.
For weird reasons, as old as Fusion itself.
There's some. I think most of the. I think
lower than it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
so
most of the gazelles have an even smaller size. Actually, it's weird. Anyway, let's go take a look at Krot's deck, shall we? And Krot is playing Baltic Front. One of the strongest decks, of course, seen very often.
Krot loves his Krotals, doesn't he?
Yeah, 2 cards of ED90s. I think he likes to... I mean, we have seen in the previous game that tends to not be the best when it comes to radar AA micros, so it makes sense that he likes the Krotals very much.
Sure, yeah.
Especially when... I think this is a very good choice, especially if you know you're going against an airborne deck, right? It's a good counter to it. I would...
I think what he would have really needed are the ZSUs. Not only in general, I think you should really use them. They're amazing. But also against Lynxes and the like. And like helicopter spam. They're just so good to have.
At least he does have the double ASFs and not just any double ASFs. He went for the MiG-29, which will come in very handy versus 2 armor planes. Of which his opponent does have 8-10s. And
he also has a Bootcamp one also to deal with. Which obviously 9HE is one of the best things you can have against 2 armor planes.
A lot of Ericos and the Grom as well. I think Krot will present enough of a air defense to survive.
Once again, though, only 6 CVs. Oh no, never mind. I can't count. He has 10 CVs because for some reason he decided to put the 3rd CV card after the supply truck, and no Jurgen as well. So he clearly adjusted the deck against airborne.
Yes, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Pave is one shot by...
No, it has 14. It has 14 armor. It gets one shot by the
So that
heavier.
28.
Well, I assume he
28.
probably won't bring out anything above the Wilk anyway.
Probably, yeah. But just I don't remember.
Yes, these are as used, but they're obviously not as cool or useful as the support tab ones. But I mean, yeah, it's a pretty standard Baltic deck outside of the fact that he obviously has adjusted it for airborne with no Jurgen, Grom on top of that. No, usually Yakari spam, KT spam, Panzer Yakari. Yeah.
I have to say, Krot is very well equipped to deal with the Greyhound.
Yeah, again, I think it would have been a better choice to also have these.
Yes, but at the same time, he already has. What,
no, you have to put them in the deck.
Three man cards, 2 cards of Iconite.
If you don't put them into your deck, you're a sucker. There, I said it.
I would like to disagree, but having tried myself.
Yeah, that's why you're just a major.
Oh.
Well, first of all, rude. Second of all, I have tried them, and they are indeed amazing.
So,
Stunning tigers with this first shot.
Yes.
So, is this the punch bowl?
This is Punch Bowl, the one that I accidentally loaded previously. Surprise, surprise.
You weren't supposed to say that.
And yeah. Also, hold on. One other important thing is with Krot having no artillery, he can't snipe farms outside of planes or something like that.
Yep.
And I mean, Hawks can actually.
I mean, outside of planes, yes.
Relatively well.
So
Also, this is a very short replay.
What should which player do? And how?
The Punch Bowl is still a mystery to me. I still don't really know how to properly play this map. I mean, I obviously have some rough ideas, right? You can go for like a delta push around the outside and go for this town, or you can. I think Putin and I also tried myself recently. That is like you push basically Bravo from this angle here, and then put pressure onto the 2-pointer from that area.
That's pretty much the only strat I do on this map.
What Tech B also I don't know if he still plays or ever, but in the past what he really liked to do is, and that's actually a serious push, is to actually spawn push onto golf from this side, because you have so much cover to work with that it's actually kind of hard to push you out of there. It's actually a very serious strategy and not a meme strategy. Pushing the spawn from the other side is kind of a meme, but like from Greyhound side, certainly a threat.
Overall, in my opinion, like Greyhound's goal is to get the fight to be happening around the Bravo. Right, there's a town. There's a lot of open ground where you can utilize your hopefully air force superiority, and that would be my plan as a Greyhound. Like try to go for the Bravo, as if I were on a cross position. I would try to restrain from the Bravo and try to fight more onto the left side into the 1-pointers where I can concentrate my AA around in good hiding spots, and where I have enough of a hiding spot, enough of cover to work with my AA. That would be my like a general principle of playing from one and the other guy's perspective.
Yeah, in general, Punch Bowl is a very wide map, so if Greyhound can find that spot where his opponent is light on A, he can exploit it quite well, just because it's so hard to cover every possible angle of approach.
Right,
yeah, but we have to remember that like Greyhound is relying not that much on helicopters, I presume, from what we saw from the deck, but he will be mostly relying on planes. What do you think, Raz?
Yeah, definitely. Like Lynxes are nice, but compared to MTVs, they obviously have the issue that they're much more squishy. They don't have any MGs, which sounds stupid, but sometimes actually is quite a big deal. So, and yeah, it's very noticeable. I expect Krot to probably get an early MiG-29. Outside of the A10, I think the Kernus is probably just the biggest deal, and that obviously only has no armor.
Which MiG-29 though?
Finnish one, I presume, but I guess we'll see. Let's take a look at the opener, shall we?
Yep.
KTs, what are those? Those are Yakari and Panther Yakari. Only one.
Actually.
Yeah, one are updated, one are down. Like one are hardened, one are regular.
And those Zills, are those CC or?
Those are CC.
Yep, so he doesn't actually have any.
Sorry, Erikois. I meant sorry. I mean, I'm certain. I expect them to be. Because I wouldn't expect him to open with no AA into foster with so many
He's
points.
starting with a second CV right away.
He does start with a second CV. So I assume he probably wants to play like very defensively. Maybe he just doesn't know really what to expect, and that's why he wants to just hold back early on, see what's happening, start with his CV to not fall behind, or maybe put pressure onto Greyhound, and then react to what Greyhound does and see, I don't know, find an opening, something like that. Salamander as well. Bit ballsy maybe against an airborne deck, but Greyhound like very few helicopters himself. And a few forces to mid, so either he wants to go for like a grab into the town or just play defensive. We'll see.
I mean, Krot has a very defensive opener, in my opinion. There is no push coming there, especially like also the second CV. There's a very, very conservative, very defensive plan from Krot's side.
And Greyhound also with the second CV.
That's very interesting.
Interesting.
By the way, isn't it because what's the actually count? This is the fourth game, so no.
This is the fourth game. Greyhound is ahead 2-1.
Greyhound is ahead 2-1.
Yep.
So if Greyhound wins this, he wins the tournament. If he loses it, it goes to the fifth game. So yeah, we have Razzmann, I believe. I think kind of a similar thing to Krotals even. I assume that he might try to go for the town grab, but other than that, doesn't seem to be too aggressive anywhere. But again, it's mostly, I think, based on planes, so it's hard to really look into what he's trying to do based on the ground units that he starts with.
Looking at the openers right now, if Greyhound does go for the town grab in Bravo, he will probably get it, and that will actually give him a lot of line of sight to work with using planes.
Also, it should be noted that those Norlandsjäger are gonna be amazing against Baltic, because all those KTs, they have only one armor, so they do get one shot. So yeah, let's...
Norlandsjäger have extended range, 1,575 meters, if I remember.
1575, yes. So let's get rolling.
I'm pretty sure we saw Norlandsjäger already do their part in the first game of the series, where Greyhound was playing Scandi.
Yeah.
Let's see if he can make it work again.
No planes whatsoever. Hachinana trying to sneak around. Or maybe just being defensive.
Might just controlling the high ground, to be honest. Always.
Yeah, you don't want to ignore that part. You can similarly to the highway on highway. It's easy to forget about this plateau here where you don't have line of sight from the downside there. Lots of yeah, I think Krot's just straight up going for this, but no, they miss both, and they're out in the open. Ooh, no Stinger in the town.
By Greyhound, what's happening elsewhere? These are corners, and the Bravo is being secured.
Unsurprisingly, Norlandsjäger in there, opening up on the PMPSV, I assume. Everything here just got wrecked by the KTs because Norlandsjäger screwed up with the first salvo and just, then it was game over.
And there's a Finmig already.
Here's the Finmig. There's Norlandsjäger being unloaded. That must have been Miss Micro that they already got unloaded, right? I don't know why they got unloaded so early.
We might never know.
Krot very aggressive with those KTs. Probably these...
MX-13 died in mid, which...
To the spike here, both of them, yeah. Not a huge deal. But losing Echo is annoying for sure. And I think with not having like the proper ground units, Greyhound can't put a lot of pressure onto Delta from his sound side.
If I also suggest we think about this from a metagaming perspective, considering that the 2CV start on Punchbowl is relatively rare, I'm pretty sure both players expected to catch the opponent off guard with that second CV, so had to throw them off their game at least a little bit.
Norlandsjäger finish off the T55. Once again, you can see that there's like a rifle special effect for the recoilless rifle firing, which is very annoying to deal with because sometimes it makes it hard to spot in which town they are in.
Oh, MS-19 though.
Dealing a lot of damage, but the 15 HP paying off. Right head in the town, in the forest. There, Lynx come into the first Lynx in a blue airborne deck. Grom in the base. Is still a Salamander at the far end edge of the map, sneaking around. Total. Killing the MS-17. KT. Very aggressive with the infantry list still loaded in. Just getting out of range of the Shite Head before they were able to fire again. Very crucial here. No, Sega are killing the one there. That range is just ridiculous, honestly. 29 evaking.
It's not so much the range, it's that you never expect it. It's so hard to get used to it.
Yeah. I mean that, and it not being a guided missile, right? You can't react to it once they fire. Yep. Anyway, CV from Krot onto Foxtrot, getting a +1 soon. A lot of defenses here in Delta. I assume he expected like a push to like a heal drop maybe or something like that. He also opened with 2 Groms there after all. He had of ammo.
Greyhound still even like with a secured Bravo. It's in a very tricky position still. Yeah. The Charlie flank is very open. He can like really let CVs literally unprotected. Any sneaky KT might get it noticed. Like not even just a fast moving KT can get that noticed. And the lack of the right flank isn't even that big of a problem for Greyhound. Just he has a lot of potential AA positions under his air spawn.
Yeah. I think an issue is Greyhounds, which at the moment isn't a big deal, but might be later on, doesn't or underestimates the force that is in Delta, right? Because he got overrun in Echo so early on. He might expect there to be more than there actually is. And thus he probably doesn't have a good feel of where the points of Krot are. He knows he's weak in mid, but he barely had anything there. And he knows there's stuff in the top, but he doesn't know how much. MiG-29 double taps the F-100.
Salamandra's going for the snipe. Salamandra's going for the snipe of the CV, and it's goner.
Yeah. And there's the BTR-152 that was meant to. And the MiG-29 kills the F-15J. That is a horrible, horrible trade. I mean, not even a trade, just a loss for Greyhound.
Yeah. It's really not looking good for Greyhound at this moment, even though like the Bravo position is really very crucial, but I don't think he has position like to make that standard Bravo into Delta push. You know?
Yeah, he has like only 3 Nolan Tiger holding that, right? So he can't. It's nothing to push with, really.
Yeah, he's to reinforce it.
I'm not sure if an airborne deck is actually well equipped for a push like that. Anyhow,
no, it's not.
That's also true, and also like the funny thing is, airborne deck has much more AA on the field.
I mean, I wouldn't say much more. There's like a lot of Groms, lots of Promets, bunch of air decoys.
There are 2, at least here I do see
there's 2 Crotals, 2 TCMs, right? Versus
that's a lot.
Versus 1,
2,
3 air decoys, 1 Grom in the base, 2 Groms there, plus 3 Promets, right? It's not that little, but yeah, it's a lot of AA for Greyhound. And Greyhound now not only like busy trying to hunt the Salamander, but also spending points on it, right? While being behind. That's not what you want to do. He does get a snipe on it, so that's nice, but Krot is now up with 2 MiG-29s, killed already one of Greyhound's ASFs, of which he only has 4. While Krot still has 4, while 2 are already.
And I think Krot is dangerously close, if not already there, at establishing a lock on the air game. Just with 2 MiG-29s, you have to actually amass a lot of points to break through them. Otherwise, you're just going to feed your planes piecemeal to them.
Yeah. I think the only way that Greyhound can efficiently deal with them is if he gets like at least 2 ASFs and like a A10 at the start to just sponge missiles. But even then the problem is, right, they get their missiles out instantly and then evac. Greyhound only has semi-active ASFs, right, with semi-active missiles. So it's really, it's much harder to kill them, which is probably why something like the Block 52, the US Block 52 on Veteran, due to the bonus, would have been really nice, but that's just so hard to deal with them with your own ASFs, just because they get the evac immediately after double tapping, and you get maybe 2 missiles on them with your semi-active ones, maybe, and often only 1.
Greyhound screwing up micro with his CV. He called a CV for a 2-pointer, unloaded it accidentally, now loaded it back and not moving.
I mean, now he's
Oh,
making it.
It's really looking bad for Greyhound overall, like even from a strategical perspective, I think. As we said, as you said, Razzmann, there is only way is like to bait enemy ASFs into your A10, and that's very tricky position, very expensive position, especially if you are this far behind already.
There's also like, I mean, he has ground-based AA, but they're fairly short range against planes, so you can't bait him into like AA either.
Yep.
And I think when you're playing Blue Airborne, you obviously rely on your planes, but more so, you also, I think, more than motorized decks, you live off of your opener, and then try to just win more with your Kernesses. You try to just overwhelm them, push left, push right, but trying to come back with Airborne when you're not having air superiority or something like that.
It's very, very difficult.
Very difficult.
Like,
yeah.
Trying to run without 2 legs.
But by the looks of it, I assume he wants to do something down here in Delta. I guess it depends on where those Humvees are going, but
yeah, they're going in between Bravo and Charlie. So I mean, the last hope is to do 2-pointer push.
But there's actually quite some defenses there. The KTs are gonna be a huge issue. Like he has like an AMX 13, but other than that, not much to do with them. And trying to push over the open in Humvees and with the infantry, it's not nice. Not nice.
One thing we could consider is that it is a best of 5, and Greyhound kind of knew the decks and the maps. So this might be in a weird way a sacrificial game.
Oh, that he wants to get the Baltic front out of the way.
Yes,
yeah, maybe.
And or rather punch ball out of the way.
Or he wants to get rid of Blue Airborne, something like that.
That's could very much be the case. Yes. There's 2 peace shrines in above. I mean, that's a desperation play. If I ever see 1 peace run down, I mean, trying to snipe a Wilk, and he only. I mean, at least the peace run gets out, but it also didn't kill a Wilk. So, what did he achieve? Nothing. He lost 100 points and spent another 100 points on top of that on a plane that didn't achieve anything.
I'm still looking kind of grim for Greyhound.
For sure. E to 9 being bought as well. Just Krot very conservative, and I think it's really his game to lose. So not being like overly aggressive and just losing units left and right to stuff that is avoidable. It's just what he has to do.
Yeah, after 10 minutes already like 200 points advantage, 210 point lead,
while still taking as well. Greyhound, no, I was just gonna say he must have been buying planes because we haven't seen him buy a lot of ground units.
Yeah.
So I assume that maybe it's like we bought a Kernos, maybe now tries to wait out the MiG-29s. That's also the reason why I personally would never circle both of my ASFs out, unless of course he has the polished MiG as well ready. But if they're both out and you just let them circle, then they're both gonna evac and both refill at the same time, and then you have this time window where none of your ASFs are ready. And there's the Kernos flying out on like the side.
The Fin MiGs, they only work in pairs, right?
True. But I think it's not only if you actually want to kill something, obviously you prefer them in pairs. But even if there's only one out, there's still a threat. So if you want to deter, then yeah. Anyways, I'm not sure if Kernos wanted to Greyhound wanted to bait the MiG-29s with the Kernos because maybe he has an ASF ready and tries to get them into the side, or just try to be sneaky with the Kernos. But
seems like it's the latter.
There's a Hawk. I guess there's a push coming with the TGBs. And the Rifleman just getting killed there. Hawk going for the Rifleman down there. Kernos is still circling on the map, as we can see. Oh, that's an unlucky. That was quite a big dispersion. But I mean, it did stop the push. I mean, not like those 3 Riflemen really were a threat with those ZSUs coming up there, and another KT.
Oh yeah, meanwhile Krot pushing into the back of Bravo.
Quite successfully.
If that corridor is sealed, it's Well, we might
succeed once he moves up those M1 moves.
Let's call it. What is Greyhound spending his points? It must be planes because there's no reinforcements coming from.
The Kurnos also didn't even drop its bombs, it's just evac. Some helicopters probably just trying to bait missiles, but no Lynxes or something really moving up behind, so they're just gonna die without achieving much.
It seems like really Krot was very ready for this airborne. A good deck.
There's the Hachinana from the start that snuck around, but it's probably not going to achieve much. Polish MiG as well now being bought. There's a Kurnos and a Puff. Being evac, scared off by the MiG-29. It's gonna get one missile off. But too late. Lost his foothold in Bravo there at the edge. Hawk dropping on those not on Segara.
Really problematic, actually.
Hachinana actually just driving past the Yakari. But
I guess he's hoping for a lucky CV snipe.
I mean, yeah, of course. But CV is down there on the other end. And even if he wanted to, he probably wouldn't be able to reach it with a little fuel he has. The Yakari moved up and killed it. It's another 3 sec of Humvees being bought, but against KT's pushing there, it's gonna be near impossible. Really just a stomp for Krot. So Hornet, ASF Hornet, Peace Run, Kurnos Puff. There's an E290 here in mid, there's a lot of man pads. Everything is getting evac'd. Everything's scared by those MiG-29s. Peace Run is dead. Yeah, those planes achieving nothing. ET just Krot buying defenses everywhere and still pushing up and just winning. What's this ping? Help me, I suck. Unfortunately, we can't help you. Hawk. Also, nothing's like Krot could just reverse the whole thing, right? And just keep bombing him and be the airborne deck himself, you know?
But yeah, this one, yeah.
3 Hawks.
Just yeah, I mean, Greyhound just helpless from basically from the start. After it's really everything went wrong in Echo, and then losing the CV down there to the Salamandra, and it's just went worse.
And also, the early ASF loss was a big loss.
Yeah, I think those are the 3 key moments probably, and then he just played horribly from that moment on. But even I mean, even if he played well, it would have been incredibly tough or near impossible to win. But he also just probably just gave up.
Like going into this game.
I mean, yeah.
Krot's deck is probably one of
the better
decks, most well-equipped decks to deal with this sort of playstyle.
Yeah, because the airborne wants to play wide, like with small groups of infantry here and there. He never wants to really concentrate on one front where there might be a lot of AA to overcome and there might be heavy tanks. So he really wants to spread as much as possible, and that's where the Baltic front is also good as well.
Yeah.
With plus having a very great AA. Unlike the Eurocore, because Eurocore is not as equipped in terms of AA to deal with this. And it's much more difficult to overcome Baltic AA than the Eurocore.
So yeah, I think it was I don't think there's really too much more to say. That means in 5th game, Krot has his Soviet deck left to play. And Eurocore, right? He didn't win with the Eurocore yet. He lost the first one.
Yes, that's correct.
What did he play in the second one, Krot?
It was a mech deck.
Yeah, mech, exactly. So he sees Eurocore and Soviets left. Greyhound has his Eurocore motorized deck left. And his... I think... And this one. And I don't know what his 5th deck is, right? Because he played Eurocore...
Doesn't the opponent get 1 ban?
Maybe he gets one. Maybe he gets 1 ban.
I'm pretty sure they do.
I mean, he has his Eurocore motor deck and this one left, right?
Yep.
So guys, off to the tiebreaker.
Yep. Last game. All right.
Let's go.